Council, my name is Harry Zavos, resident of Glendale. Last time I appeared before you was to speak to the Will Dam proposal regarding change in the water fees. I found that presentation opaque, and I found it raised several constitutional questions. Raised several questions about compliance with Proposition 218. I had, in the space of the 3 minutes allotted to me during the public hearing, I could only raise one of those questions. Mayor, you, sensitive to that, invited myself and the public who had questions to submit it in writing. And I want to publicly commend you for that. It's a step in the right direction, a step in the direction of clarity and transparency. And as you know, I took up your invitation and have submitted several questions. I would hope this evening you might be in a position to let me and others who submitted questions know when we might receive answers. In the meantime, I wanted to give a heads up to the city regarding possible constitutional issues should there be a proposed change in electrical rates. Constitutional issues with respect to Article 13C of the Constitution as amended by Proposition 26. I've given all of you a copy of that. Article 13C, Section 2, subsection D, provides and requires that the imposition, extension, or increase in a special tax be first approved by a 2/3 vote of the people. Now, Article 13C broadly defines tax to include an electrical fee. Well, I'm now reading from Article 13C. Tax means any levy, charge, or extraction of any kind imposed by a local government except the following. And then it lists 7 exceptions. Only one could remotely apply to electrical fees, and that's the second one. And I read, a charge imposed for a specific government service or product provided directly to the payor that is not provided to those not charged. So far, so good. That fits electrical fees. But then it goes on to say, and which does not exceed the reasonable cost to the local government of providing the service or product. Now, frankly, when in fact the city, pursuant to the charter, is transferring millions of dollars to the general fund of electrical fees, and when it's using additional millions of dollars to provide free of charge electricity for the city's street lamps and traffic lights, it hardly can fit that second part of the requirement to be accepted from having to be put to a vote. That part that says it has to be reasonably necessary to provide the service. And as if to underscore it, it goes on to say, and again I read from the Constitution, the local government bears the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence that a levy, charge, or other extraction is not a tax, that the amount is no more than necessary to cover the reasonable costs of the governmental activity, and that the manner in which those costs are allocated to the payer bear a fair and reasonable relationship to the payer's burden on or benefits received from the governmental service. Now, I don't know whether the city anticipates a rate change without putting it to a vote of the people, but if that is so, I would ask that beginning now, you ask the city attorney how you can square the provisions of Article 13C of the Constitution with the city's practice of using millions and millions of ratepayers' dollars not to provide electricity to the ratepayers. And I raise this question now because I am mindful. From the time I first raised the question of the constitutionality of transferring water fees from GWP to the general fund, it took 8 months before the city publicly responded indicated that it was not constitutional and suspended those fees.